Hello everyone, welcome to Modern Chess Kids. Today I'm going to show you the game played by Ludvig and Olga, and the game complete in only 20 moves. So let's see how the game play. The game starts with pawn to e4, g6, then d4, and the black continue with the bishop g7. And white continue to play knight f3, c5, and here the white continue to play d5, controlling the center and push forward the pawn. d5 and d6 was played, and white bring another knight to the center square, knight c3 and knight f6. So in this position, this is a first 5 move, and you can see that the white is slightly better with the pieces are more in the center and have more activity. The game continues with bishop to b5 check the king, and knight b to d7 to prevent the check, and then a4 was played, and now the black castling. Then the white castling and a6 was. And now the bishop back to e2. Then knight to e8, preparing to push the pawn, the f pawn onwards. And bishop g5 was played, so this will prevent the pawn to being pushed, and the bishop will be attacking the queen. h6 was played to attack the bishop, and now the bishop to f4. Then bishop, then the black play rook to b8, and now rook to e1. And here this is one of the critical path for the rook to play, from e1 to e5 and h5, and to attack the pawn at h6. And this is one of the strategy the white plan from the move chop. Therefore the black play king to h7, and now bishop to d3, preparing to move the pawn to e5, and the bishop. And now the knight to c7, and here e5 was played, and after this the black capture the pawn, d takes e5, and knight continue to capture the pawn, knight takes e5, and knight takes e5, and bishop takes e5, and you have a bishop capture the bishop. And now the rook capture back the bishop. So after this position, you can see that there are 3 pieces in this 16 square. So the white is better and have more activity in the game. Then the black play b5, preparing to attack the pawn or to push the pawn forward and attack the knight. So the pawn at a capture the pawn at b5, and a takes b5, and now d2, and preparing to checkmate at the attack the pawn at h6. So in the actual game, the black play queen to d6 with the idea to capture the rook. And after this, and here is a tactical blunder, and here the white win the game and mate in 4. I give a couple of seconds to figure this out on how the white to move and play in the game. Well, congratulations for those who found the answer, and those who like to enjoy the show, here are the moves. In the actual game, after the queen moved to d6, the black play rook h5 is one of the great moves. And after this rook h5 on the move 20, the black resign the game. And if you see, if the game to continue to play, for example, if the king move away to g8 square, then the queen will just capture the pawn, and you can prepare to checkmate at h7 or h8. For example, queen take h6, and any move on the black, you just delay the checkmate, as there is no prevent the king from being checkmate. So if the queen capture the h2 pawn, you can just use the king to capture back. King takes h2, and now any move from the black pawn to g5 or the pawn g just capture the h6 h5 rook, and you have the queen to h7 and checkmate. So if the king move to g7, so you can just use the queen to capture and check the king. And if the king to f6, then you have a beautiful knight to e4 and check the king. And there is no thing can capture the knight from being checked. So if your king move to h8, then you can just use the queen to capture the pawn and check the king. Queen takes h6 and check, and now there's nothing you can block the check, and therefore if your king to g8, then you can just use queen to h8 and checkmate the king. So after this rook to h5, you have a very beautiful checkmate idea. And here again, this is the beautiful critical path that the white play at the move 12 to create this amazing checkmate. And with this, thank you.